Hello, everyone. Welcome to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I am your host, Ryan Doze, joined today by the Faz Guardian as our co-host today. Faz, we're finally doing it. We're finally back. Pun intended, we are back in the saddle.
We're back, baby.
This series. We're finally doing a Simonson Saga episode.
It's been too long.
It's been way too long, and you can point all the blame here at me because I wanted a break, but I did not intend for this break to take this long. We're finally back talking about Walt Simonson's Thor. Faz, I know you have lots of feelings and lots of strong opinions on this, but how are you feeling about our return to Walt's Asgard, Walt's Midgard, the land that he created?
As I've been bullying you about for a few weeks now, I read this entire, I guess since like May, right? May or June.
Months.
So a couple months now. I read this run in its entirety during my honeymoon from start to finish while we were like laying on beaches and so on and so forth. So
nothing says love like a little thunder.
Good. Usually I make the bad jokes. Good. We're starting out strong. Going through it directly like that just reminded me how much I missed doing these ones and going through these kind of, I know it's technically the Bronze Age, but like the golden age of Thor comics, like this run.
Yes.
Takes Thor from kind of a science fiction alien guy to a Norse god in a way that gets picked up by everybody later. And I'm really excited to be back in the saddle. It's kind of funny that the first Walt Simonson issue we're going to talk about since our break does not involve Walt Simonson. Why don't you tell the listeners a bit about that, Mr. Rye Guy?
Okay, so thank you. We picked up where we left off. Last issue we covered was Thor 369. It was the end of a story with a troll witch named Uglatha, Thor, and Balder. It ended with Balder's coronation, like leading up to that moment. And we're picking up not exactly where we left off in the story because we get a fill-in issue. Thor 370 is a fill-in issue that does not feature Walt Simonson and honestly barely features Thor until the very end, where guest writer James Owsley and guest penciler John Buscema, who is for those that know their Marvel history, John Buscema, no slouch one bit. He kind of redefined the house style at Marvel after Jack Kirby left in the late 60s, early 70s. John Buscema was the art director. Anything that was going to get put on a page that was a character, a background, or anything like that was going to go through him. So John steps in here for his brother Sal, who is doing the art on our main issues of Thor with Walt Simonson. I
thought I was having a stroke for a second. I was like, his name is Sal, right? What are you saying, Ryan? This is...
No, Sal is John's younger brother.
Wow, so that's actually, really cool.
An interesting fact that maybe some Marvel fans might not know, or there's like some deep cut Marvel fans out there like, come on, we already knew that. Sal Buscema is still alive.
He is, yeah.
This recording, he's still alive. I think he's in his like late 90s. Like he's an old man.
He is 88 years old.
Okay, so he's almost 90. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's getting up there. And his brother John passed away a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we still get some Buscema artwork, just not from the one we've gotten accustomed to. We do have inks in 370 by P. Craig Russell, who has gone on to do a lot of cool stuff. I'm actually staring at a book that he inked on my shelf right now. Colorist is Paul Beckton. Lettering by John Workman, who has been lettering Thor pretty much this entire run of Simonson, and edited by Ralph Macchio. Not that Ralph Macchio.
I still think it's that one.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. I'm sure he's never heard that joke before. So that's our stand-in creative team for this really fun story entitled Easy Money. We jump all the way back to Texas in 1875, where a outlaw card-playing, wannabe gunslinger, he's not really that good at it, named Sundance, encounters a lot of odd, old, wrinkly people, and he is given this land deed that he's got to deliver to a certain person at a certain time in these Texas towns that they're jumping from place to place. I did love that Wilmington is one of the Texas towns, and our buddy Will Rose is from Wilmington, North Carolina. So he's from Wrightsville, and I believe he's gonna absolutely tear me a new one if I got that wrong, Faz. But I believe I'm right. I believe I'm correct on that. I'm sure Will Rose will correct me if I am wrong. But we're jumping around to all these different Texas towns, and really the big reveal is that Loki and Thor are disguised as these old withered outlaws, and Loki takes a bite out of the golden apples of Idun, which are the thing that give Norse gods their life and their vitality and their youth. He bites one, instantly turns into a very youthful version of Loki. His posse that have been riding around with him turn into trolls. They hop aboard a train, and Thor, as a cowboy, is whipping around the hammer. He can turn into his guys, his armor and his cape, but he still looks withered and old.
And his horse becomes a Pegasus. Don't forget
His
that.
horse
We
does
get
become a
wings. Yeah.
Pegasus, yes. So lots of cool stuff happens. We get some really fun like old west tropes, but in the end Thor recovers the apples and tells Sundance, the outlaw, that he's got to take him back to Asgard, and Sundance throws away the lucky magic trading cards, the magic playing cards that Loki had given him earlier on in the issue. It's kind of a fun little side story, Faz. I really enjoyed a lot of aspects of this, and I'm sure we'll get into the panels and little story elements that we liked. But overall, what'd you think of Thor 370?
Yeah, I agree. It was a really fun kind of dodging side story. And listeners, this is my chance to plug the fact that since being obsessed with this run, I have collected
right.
almost the entire set. I have 3 comics left to get, 2 of which, or 1 of which, I guess, I don't have in front of me right now, but I do have this comic in front of me. So if there's ever video content, you'll see me showing it here. I've got it in its original inks. It's obviously a Canadian version. Sorry in advance for it being 75 cents instead of 60 or whatever it would have been. But it's really cool to have all these. And one thing that's really cool about this particular issue is that it continues that Thor tradition, or perhaps one of the first ones to do it, where they retell a classic Norse myth within the realms of the Marvel comics. So Loki stealing the apples of Idun is something that is directly in Norse mythology. And this is doing that exact story with a country western lens. So that's very fun. That's a really cool way to do it. And I really like that the guest writers during this run don't even try to deal with the main story. They do weird side stuff from a different time, right? It's like Hercules being like, "Oh, did I ever tell you the story of the time that I was way better than Thor?" And then he learns his lesson and stops. Yeah. like, wait, but Hercules, how could you have done that? Yeah. And the same thing here. It's just a really fun little side story. It sticks with the Norse mythology, part of the whole mystifying Thor from a space alien into an actual Norse god. And honestly, like, Thor's a pretty cool cowboy. Loki's a pretty cool bad guy, and Sundance is a fun vigilante that reminds me of us, Ryan.
Yeah, I really felt like Sundance was us during this issue.
We are definitely at least worse shots than he is, and I say that for he literally only made 1 good shot the entire issue.
I'll be honest, pretty fair in my critique of my ability to shoot a gun. I think Sundance was probably way better than me.
Oh, infinitely.
So one of my favorite moments, because the whole issue is kind of leading up to Loki taking over this train, and then Thor grabbing the hammer. Sundance does a lot of different stuff with outlaws and old kind of prospector looking guys. But the transformation of Loki from an old withered outlaw into his normal guys that we're familiar with, hopping aboard a train with a bunch of trolls, that panel is just so good. because in the bottom of that page we also see Thor on his white horse because
Yeah.
he's the country
Let me
western
see if
trope
I can show
of
you the original or if it's too far away for you to get a
oh no, I
good
can
view of
see
it.
it.
But
It's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, it's like
Absolutely fantastic.
so cool.
We see that Thor is decked out like that classic, he's the white hat cowboy on the white
Yeah.
horse, so that's
Got a blue
telegraphing
costume so that you
he's
can
the
tell that
good
he's still
guy.
Thor. Yeah. And he's got
In
a
case
yellow
you don't
belt on.
know, he's the good guy.
Yep.
And Thor transforms, and they start fighting the trolls. Actually, have a fun little moment with Sundance where Sundance says, "Oh, okay, well I can't miss from this range," and the troll bites down on the end of his pistol and breaks it, and he's like, "Well, nuts, he ate it." And Sundance has one opportunity to kind of be the hero, and he shoots the apple out of Loki's hand. That leads to Thor kind of dispensing of everybody, and then the story kind of concludes there. It's a fun little side story. Faz,
You
were
can't
there
forget
any
that when the apple gets shot, Loki brings back an old classic, Zounds.
sounds? Yes, a probably not one that's going to be used in a lot of modern iterations of
No,
Loki.
I like it though. It's also got some other fun stuff like Loki does magic, gives him a magic card hand so that he can stop cheating with a bad deck. Mjolnir does some stuff that only Mjolnir can do. Like the magic that Loki does lets it be magic. It really fits with this era of Thor while being a nice little neat side story that doesn't take away from the main plot at all.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of this issue. Were there any other final things from this issue, Faz? Because I know we got a 2-part story we're gonna jump into for 371 and 372. But any final thoughts on this non Walt Simonson issue within our Simonson saga?
The only thing I can think of is that everybody filled in beautifully. Other Buscema did a great Buscema impression for one book, and yeah, it
Uh,
was a lot of fun.
yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was a good way to kind of get a palate cleanser, but also get kind of a lot of your standard Thor fare
Yeah,
in a fill-in issue. Let's quickly jump into 371. This issue is really the beginning of our jumping into the time traveling TVA of it all. Like Faz said earlier, this is the first appearance of the Time Variance Authority. And we know that the TVA would become a big deal in modern comic book readers' minds after the release of the Loki television show on Disney
hmm
Plus. So the TVA is not as big of a part of the story here as it would be in later years. But yeah, the TVA got its start here in Thor 371 and 372. Faz, that's just kind of a cool little bit of Thor trivia there that we get as Thor fans, we get to be like, oh yeah, the TVA, that's kind of our thing.
not even just kind of our thing. Walt Simonson put it in as a scathing critique of modern comic books. Right, that's something that I read recently. When he included the TVA here, it was about how industrialized and how kind of formulaic and controlled comic book making was getting. That it wasn't as free flowing as it used to be. So this was meant to be a satire of that, to show that like everything's under control in a way it didn't used to be. The continuity is too important. And he puts that in, and Marvel goes, "That's freaking cool," and runs with it for the next 50 years, dashing in here and there to the point where it becomes a integral part of where the MCU, its flagship money making machine, is going now.
Yeah, no, I mean it's great, and we're introduced to the TVA mostly from their front man in our time, Justice Peace, and we'll get to
Mm-hmm.
know him a little bit. We're gonna see a few different things get interwoven throughout the story. So I'm gonna follow one line of thought and then backtrack to follow the other one, Faz,
Great
just so we
idea.
don't get our wires crossed there.
Yep.
Let's follow Thor's line first. So Thor starts off back in Asgard as Balder is being crowned, and then basically says his goodbyes to Sif and Beta Ray Bill and the Warriors Three, and it's like, hey guys, I got to go back to Midgard. I've been away for a long time, and I love that we're at this point. in the Simonson run. We're 30 plus issues in, and he still feels the need to tell us, by the way, Midgard means Earth.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we can count on Walt giving us an asterisk for every single time. Not all these Asgardian names, these Norse themes, none of that. We don't need any of that explained. Just so you know, guys, eagle-eyed comic book readers, Midgard means Earth.
Now, is that even Walt, or is that our man Ralph Macchio, the Karate Kid, putting them in so that we know what's going on?
It might be. I don't know. I don't know if that's a scripting thing or it's an editing thing. It feels like maybe something we could ask Walt Simonson someday, Faz.
That
Or
would
do
be
we
the
want to
dream.
burn a question on that?
No, it's and the other thing that's cool about this part is that Thor's wearing kind of a ceremonial armor. It's slightly different than what he wears all the other times. His discs have a blue outline around them. There's an extra kind of white layer to
True.
it. It's all the Asgardians look just a little bit fancier than they ordinarily do, which is
Yeah.
fitting of a coronation. I also think, like, when I first read this, I thought to myself, if anybody was concerned that Walt is making Balder king instead of Thor, 3 or 4 sentences from Mr. Simonson completely clears up the concern, right? Like Thor talking about how he's like a will-o'-wisp and he just really wants to be out there helping people and going on adventures. And Balder saying, I'm not worthy of this, but I'll always strive to be the best king I can be. And Balder being like, yeah, I'm not sitting on the throne. No way. That's Papa Odin's throne. I'm going to make my own little throne for it. It's just a very sets kind of the new status quo in a way that if you were worried that, Thor should really be king or like Odin should be back, this works and it works
Yeah.
really well. And now Thor can do all of his stuff and Asgard is well taken care of.
Right. So here is, and I'll, if as you want me to continue with my synopsis, or should we dig in here? Because I have a thought here.
I think give me the thoughts about this Asgard thing, and then we'll move to the next Thor thing, and we'll give thoughts at each kind of big scene, big set piece
Okay.
that comes through.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So my thought here is Walt does something in this comic that is, I mean, it's not even something that Al Ewing's doing these days, where he explains to us when Thor is not on Asgard, here's what's going to be happening. So Balder, sitting on his lesser throne, says, "You cannot fool an old friend, Thor. I know you did not occupy the throne yourself because the will-o'-wisps enjoy his adventures too much to give them up." Thor reassures him, "I am content. Like, I'm good, man. Like, I'm not going to just show up one day and be like, 'Hey, Balder, off my chair.'" Um, but it at least explains to us what will be happening in Asgard when Thor is away. By that I mean who's going to be running the show, what's going to be going on, all that kind of stuff. In the Immortal Thor run, we have been on Asgard so little so far, and Thor is king of Asgard in this modern run, but really we haven't been on Asgard as much. We haven't even been doing kingly duties in a way.
Yeah,
We've been chasing down these little lines of opposition. So I like that Walt does this here.
Yeah, and also like not to disparage or not to spend too much time getting excited about Ewing here, but because Walt sets it up like this, for the next 40 years of Thor comics, anytime someone wants to make him king, they've built this thing in his brain where he's all sad because his adventures are over. And I think all of those comics are the worse for that. And Al Ewing, picking up what Walt Simonson's putting down, that the best Thor is a Thor that's on adventures, goes, fuck that, he's king, but we're just going to see him doing his adventures. And just imagine he's kinging off screen. Who cares? He's doing that between the issues,
But see, if he's gonna be here's where I'm a stickler. If he's gonna be king, we need to see him being king.
Okay,
Like,
that's fair.
because like it would, okay, and another example in the Marvel universe with T'Challa. If T'Challa is not king of Wakanda, there has to be a reason. And if he is king of Wakanda, okay, we need to explain why our king is going off and doing all these
So
kind of things.
you want just like a couple, even a couple pages here or there, being like, oh, he's back in
Yes,
Asgard holding court, and it's like, oh, the next thing's happened. Test two's coming. I should go do that instead
right.
of just adventuring the
Like
whole time. Yeah.
he can be both, but I feel like we've leaned in modern Thor comics,
Hmm.
even with. A, Here's the thing: Donny Cates was actually better at one aspect. In my mind, I'm not trying to like throw shade or shit either way,
Heard it
but
here first. He hates Al Ewing.
that's not what I said.
No, everybody knows we love Immortal Thor.
Whistle
Yeah.
blowing. Donny Cates kept reminding us that he was king, and we kept going back to Asgard as our like interludes before we would jump into another adventure. Whereas I think it's in Thor issue 15 or 16, we finally see the Golden Realm again on the cover. So we're finally getting back to Asgard, and maybe it's a bigger. It's not as big.
It
A
looks
deal as
like
I'm making
it's an Asgard arc coming to the Mortal Thor. But
good.
I think it's mainly a reaction to the last few Thor runs where every time he was king, it was like your adventures are over, you're burdened by this, and Thor got negative and kind of almost grimdark and edgy about it. And the whole
I just
point of this run is that he's a joyful guy again, right? So that's why they're kind of moving it now. But it's been a year now, and it's time for him to start doing Asgardian things. And
right,
wouldn't you know it, Al Ewing agrees and is putting him back a month after next.
good because I loved what Walt did here. Going back to Walt, us focusing on 371. I love that Walt gives us an explanation of this,
Yeah,
and maybe I'm majoring in the minors here, but I love that little bit of writing there because it solves so many logical problems.
it's a masterstroke, and every writer post tries to recapture this sort of creative solution and can't quite do it. Right? They all have some sort of reasoning, like you said, that either they're not spending enough time in Asgard or he's not spending enough time on Earth. Walt's like, screw that. It's the same way that he dealt with the secret identity part, right? Where he was like, as much as we like that Thor has a secret identity, it's too much. It's too complicated. I want to tell cool Thor mystic stories. This is how we're doing it. Let's go. 3 lines and it's away.
So we see Thor say goodbye. He pieces out, and then the second he arrives on Midgard, he's back in the thick of it with this guy flying around on a bike. Looks like a stop sign, and we see the first showdown with Justice Peace. Justice Peace is flying around on his mission, but while he's on his mission, he's like stopping jaywalkers, and he cannot abide this lawlessness. It leads to a standoff between the two because we've got to have that Marvel misunderstanding. We've got to have that moment where our two good guys think that each other's a bad guy, and when they fight, Justice Peace shoots a projectile at Thor that is kind of like a harness, and Thor initially doesn't get out of it, but then he realizes he can just kind of like phase through it and warp through the
But
through
not
the
just that he can warp
harness.
through it. This is a classic example of Mjolnir doing whatever Mjolnir needs to do
Oh,
back in the
exactly.
comics. Yeah.
We get a lot of that in these issues. There is there's a little bit of a break there, Baz, in terms of Thor stuff. So what did you think about the first showdown with Justice Peace from the TVA?
I think they had a lot of fun. Like Walt did a really good job building up Justice Peace as like he kind of seems like he should be a good guy, but some of the stuff he's saying is just insane. Like, oh no, jaywalkers, that's bad. Let me change their DNA so they'll never jaywalk again.
Yikes.
Like they're lucky I don't have my incendiary rays with me or something like that, right? Like that's just
That's some Minority Report shit. Right there.
Walt was ready for overstepping policemen 30 years before the rest of the public was kind of aware of what was going on there, right? So
Damn.
he really did a nice job with that. I really like how Justice Peace looks, and I like kind of the general design. I like the idea of he's going to try to restrain Thor. And the panel I really like the most is the one where he says, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Basically, and he goes, "Oh, he has to be one of those numerous superpowered vigilantes who inhabited this lawless era, right?" So he's like pointing out that, oh, you know what? He's one of those weirdo guys wearing leotards with superpowers that's running around doing stuff. Before we had super cops to protect everything, right? It's fun. What did you think, Ryan, about their first interaction?
I loved it. It kind of it smacks of Marvel team up logic, where
Yeah.
it's like these guys are gonna eventually get on the same page and fight the bad guy that Justice Peace is coming back in time to find. But we have to show off Justice Peace's powers. We have to reassert Thor's powers in comparison to
Yep.
Justice Peace. I loved this, and normally in these scenarios, one of them will get the upper hand, and then just they'll peace off.
Yep.
So we don't see them really interact the rest of the issue. Instead, we get a little bit of a cutaway to explain what our
But,
villain story is going to be.
and yeah, but before we jump all the way into there with the villain stuff, we do have a tease, like our man Walt likes to do,
Yeah,
setting up
yeah.
what the
Share
final
this
act
one.
is going to be, right? So we start getting Hela. She's still hella insulted, haha, hella hurt
Oh,
by whatever happened to her beforehand when Thor bested her, got people out of basically didn't he beat her up in Nilfheim, and she's all upset
yeah.
about what happened there, and
That's when they
like
went back
in
and
hell, yeah.
they stole the souls. They stole the souls from her, and she did not take kindly to that.
Yeah, so she's scheming for how she's going to get him back, and people who've read this run before know that what Hell is going to do in the next 14 issues is going to be the main impetus of the story as we reach the end of Walt's run. So, as he does with the Doom panels every couple pages with the Surtur Saga, he's got a big story at play, and this is all getting there slowly, and it's just they don't make them like this anymore, guys. The closest thing we get is Al Ewing, who does this stuff from time to time to keep us knowing that there's a grand plan, guys. Don't worry. It's just
Yeah,
masterstroke.
I will. I think this also, Faz, kind of speaks to how comics are written differently in terms of today. You kind of write. I've never written a comic, but I've read a lot. It's like you write for the trade. You write for the 5-6 issue arc that's going to be put into a book that will come out
Yeah,
later.
that's
Whereas
exactly right.
in Walt's era and everything since, everything before that, you wrote for that month and
Yeah,
you wrote for eventual payoffs. I mean, Thor is one of those books where you could probably be running A, B, C, even D storylines throughout everything. And I know early on in the Simonson Saga, that was one of my critiques of even comparing Thor then to Thor in the end of Donny Cates' run. It's no, pretty much in a modern Thor book, you're going to follow one line of perspective, and
yeah.
that's Thor. You're not
Maybe a
going to,
B that becomes an A later, whereas like this is like you want to check in with some kids. Let's check in with some kids. Let's see how they're doing too, right?
yeah, but I mean, Walt's weaving in A, B, C, D storylines,
Well, and
and
it's
I
go
love
ahead,
it.
Ryan. Sorry, yeah.
I
Oh
was
yeah,
gonna say I
like
love it because it makes me feel like this Asgard, these 9 realms are lived in. Like there's
yeah,
more than just one person's shit going on. It's like you're telling an X-Men, Spider-Man level story in Thor's world because more than just one person's perspective is being represented.
yeah. Now I would love to ask Walt someday if that came from a place of job security, knowing that he could tell his story as long as he needed to with Thor, or just that he wanted to do it and he trusted someone would pick it up. Because I think why a lot of the newer writers do it in 5 or 6 piece runs, like you said, Ryan, is because you never know if they're just going to cut the book and you'll be done. And that story that you're going to tell is over, right? So classic examples are that Loki run that was extremely popular and extremely well received that ended up ending after I think 4 issues when it was supposed to originally go for 12 because no one knew it was there. And it ended off, it was recent, I think 2017-ish. And it was just over because not enough people bought it and it was done. They had to wrap up everything in one issue and they literally wrote an issue that was essentially like, shit, sorry guys, we had a lot planned, but just so you know, that all happened off screen and it's fine. Let's wrap it up now
Well,
because they were based on sales. And here, I'd love to know if it was still like that for Walt and he just figured I'm going to tell my story and it'll be what it'll be, or if they had let him know like you can finish what you want to do here.
I think I think it's fair to say that comics have always been one of those things where like if it's not selling, it gets cut. And obviously like sales are different now. You know, there's not as much newsstand,
Hmm.
stuff. It's more buying in bulk for comic book stores and things like that. And I don't even want to even guess about the digital aspect of it.
Oh yeah.
But there were books that got cut. This story is not selling after 3 or 4 issues. I cut it. Like it would because in the '70s, in the Bronze Age of Marvel, they were pumping out so many titles, and Thor was one of those legacy titles. There's tons of titles that they just throw shit at the wall, and if it doesn't stick, cut it. Try something different. You see that a lot in the '70s with the Marvel horror books.
Yeah.
There was this resurgence of horror, so they wanted to pump out horror books, but you had Tomb of Dracula was the one that like went for so many issues, but like there's so many other horror books people probably don't even realize happened that just got cut after a few issues, and you just move on to something different. Thor is one of those books where I don't think Thor was ever in danger of being cut, especially during Simonson's run. Like during the before times between Stan Lee's run ending and Walt starting that 200 plus issues that
Yeah.
are in between there. That's when I would have worried about Thor getting cut. Because I mean, no one ever talks about those stories. No one.
Yeah.
Like, and if you do talk about them, you're probably an avid listener of Across the Bifrost. So we we're at this point where these stories are being interwoven, they're being layered over top of each other. Like I said, we're getting Hella involved in the backstory. She's letting us as the reader know she is not done with the Odinson. But let's talk about a little bit of our C plot right here, our B plot, I guess.
B
Thug
plot that
Thatcher.
becomes the A plot, I think. Yeah.
Yes, B plot that quickly becomes the A plot. It interweaves with the A plot in the next issue. But a old school Thor villain named Thug Thatcher comes back, and Thug is from one of the very first issues of Thor. He's from Journey into Mystery '89. That is forever ago. That is
Yeah.
hella like 20, 25 years before this issue is
Wait, wait,
coming.
hold up. Did you just make two puns? Did you say that was Thor ever ago? That was hella long ago? Love it.
Well,
Will Rose
listen,
representation right there.
I'm all for Will Rose representation here, forever and always. Also, Will come back to us.
Yeah, Will, I miss you. You didn't even give me a review of these ones, so I couldn't give my spot on Will Rose impression.
Will, you know what? When we get into 372, Faz, just start making shit up.
Okay,
Just
I will.
make up
That's a
Will's
great idea.
name.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah. I see no problems with that. So we jump back into our B plot where Thug has taken his old assistant Rosie's family hostage, and he's basically just bossing them around. And we see a break in at a prison where the human embodiment of Zaniac is under lock and key. He's released from prison by one of Thug's henchmen. They all meet up back at Rosie's place. Thug says some very nasty things about Rosie. And then the Zaniac shows up and he's like, I need my cuffs unlocked so I can do Zaniac stuff and murder a bunch of people.
Do
And
do they actually make it clear he's Zaniac at that point, or is he just a guy in prison at that point? Like, do we know he's Zaniac
no,
until he?
you're
Yeah.
right. We find out later on that he's Zaniac, and we find out what Zaniac really is. That it's more of like a leech, like parasite that
Hmm.
turns the person that is infected into the Zaniac character, the bloodlust, and specifically going after beautiful women
Yeah. Pretty
and
pretties.
pretty pretties. We see Zaniac get accidentally shot by Thug's henchman, and then just all the shit hits the fan. The There's a pretty gross panel. I'm just gonna say it, pretty gross panel at the top of one of the pages of these rats and these leech looking things just
Oh yeah.
bursting out of the Zaniac's back. and then Thug and Kellen, his henchmen, run away, but the Zaniac leeches get Thug, and then on our last page we see Thug cry out for Jane Foster because Jane was part of Thor's plan to defeat him all the way back in Journey into Mystery '89. And he honestly he looks kind of like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde
He does, yeah.
character in the last panel, but what'd you think of this B story that's going to take prominence in the A plot next issue, Faz?
So my first experience with Zaniac was the character named after him who starred in the movie about him in Loki. So when I saw the words Zaniac, I had a Leonardo DiCaprio meme face, like, "Oh, that's it, the Thing. I know what that is." Pointing at the other side. Yeah. So I think it's a really cool plot, and I like the idea of the lore around Zaniac being explained, which we will get to a lot more in 372.
Right.
But I thought it was really interesting how they kind of like it's not just a crazy person who has superpowers, it's some sort of parasite. And we'll learn more about it when we talk about the next issue. Like you said, there's some body horror going on. Like
Right.
Walt is not afraid to do something cool like that with it. And it's really like the rest of the book is just that. Like the second half of the whole book is just Zaniac
Not even
things.
in the second half.
Yeah, building him up to be what we have to deal with in the next issue. So I had a lot of fun with it. What did you think, Ryan?
Oh, I thought it was great. I usually I like my Thor comics to have Thor or Thor adjacent characters in it, but I did like kind of the body horror of it, and I think it's
Well, and we had an Asgardian coronation before. Beta Ray Bill was in it. Like this is
oh no
something
no
that
we had a lot of good Thor in the first half. The
Mhm.
second half just takes such a grand big twist into this smaller story, and
Yeah.
that's another aspect of what I really loved was we told a smaller, more intimate story with a smaller set of characters.
Yeah.
And
I
Thor
also
goes suburban in the next
Thor
issue.
does go suburban. He's in the streets. But before even thinking about that, this is a great time to talk about, and we talked about this on the Patreon sting a bit, just how much comic Mr. Simonson puts into a comic.
Yes.
You have 2 to 3 full comic arcs of stories in this book. You've got the coronation of Balder, which could easily fill 23 pages, and with the amount of words that are said, it could be 23 pages. You have the escape of the Zaniac. That is another set of that could be a full comic on its own. And you have Thor running into Detective Peace or whatever his Officer Peace, whatever his name was. Those 3 things together are fully fleshed out. It's not like the comic is light on any of those things. Everything gets enough time and enough done with it. Mr. Simonson just has this knack of putting it all together in a way that, like like I keep saying, they don't make comics like this anymore. You don't get this much. The closest again is Al Ewing, who can fit a whole bunch into 20 pages, and Jason Aaron's amazing at that too. But in the common era, there were a lot of Thors in recent times where it goes, "Oh, that's it. I feel like we just got started and now it's over. I got to wait till next month. What am I going to do?" Here you get so much. The story moves in 3 different directions fully. It's just masterwork every time you read one of these.
Yeah, I agree. There's so much bang for your buck in here, and Walt definitely delivers with giving you a whatever he's going to give you a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Put it that way. So let's dig into our last issue of the episode here. This is Thor 372. Without justice, there is no peace. And I didn't mention this, but Thor 371's title is Peace on Earth. So
Awesome.
we're doubling down on the justice peace theme here, but this issue is called Without Justice, There Is No Peace. So let's do kind of the same thing here where we just follow down a line of thought here. There is really a lot of we stay in on the Thug Thatcher story where he is now transformed into the Zaniac and he's going after the pretties, and he tells Kellen, take me to Jane Foster because she's partially to blame for my bad luck and things that have gone wrong in my life. We see Thor and Justice Peace show up in the Chicago suburb in Jane's neighborhood at the same time, They fight for a little bit. They disagree on kind of how to handle this, but they come to a little bit of a armistice when Justice Peace just does like a retinal scan and is like, "Oh yeah, you're kind of a good guy. Never mind. The Marvel misunderstanding is over. So now we need to get down to brass tacks." Then Justice Peace explains what he's doing, where he's from, and who he works for. Baz, do you want to dig in on a few of those details and then we'll just kind of bat the ball back and forth?
I really, really, really do. So the first thing I want to mention is just there is a little aside to Beta Ray Bill in this as well, where he says goodbye to everybody and he has a sweet moment with Sif.
Yep.
I don't want to forget that because I feel like we're going to get into the lore and we're going to forget it. That again, as always, every time we see Beta Ray Bill, it's just perfection.
Fantastic.
Like,
Yeah.
so cool. It's a great kind of I think that he says that he has no other words left to tell Sif how much she means to him. Like, the romance is so good. It's such a anyway, so great job, Walt. You've always done Sif and Beta Ray Bill perfectly. I think I just had a Freudian slip. I said Beta Ray Will there, just like our guy Will Rose, who loves him more than anything.
That'll make him smile.
So after they do their retinal scan, he explains his tragic backstory, what caused Justice Peace's world to be the way it is. It starts with an assassination of a pretty female politician by the Zaniac. And it essentially turns what was World War VII into an extinction level event for the Earth. The only way to stop him is to go back in time. So they have to get the first appearance of the Time Variance Authority.
Woo!
They have to convince the TVA to send him back. They go through a bunch of lore about how complicated it has to be. He's only got 24 hours, so on and so forth. But the lore that I'm really interested in is how the Zaniac operates. Because we learn, firstly, that it's like a parasite and a million little pieces jump out of whoever the Zaniac is at the time and then escape until they eventually, if one of them bites somebody else, that person becomes a Zaniac and all other of the thingies go away. So you don't necessarily need to take them all out. You have to take out kind of the main host and the remaining piece, like the main ones, and the rest will disappear. The other thing that's really cool is that Jack the fucking Ripper was the Zaniac.
Yeah.
Which is just such a cool historical touch to put in there. Like, it's just perfect when things like that fit in. So he explains the tragic backstory. He explains he only has so much time and he only has so much energy charge. Remember that later, listeners. He's almost out of energy. What's going to happen next? And he's got to make it right. They also run into a couple twins, or kids at least. Hard to say if they're twins or not, but they are dressed the same and they're around the same height. Ryan, do you want to tell people what happens there?
So I misspoke earlier when I said we were in Jane's neighborhood. We're not at Jane's house just yet because we go to the site of Thug's last crime, which was Rosie dying. Mm-hmm. So Rosie is dead. Like, she's gone. And her two twin boys they see Thor in their bedroom, and Thor kind of, appeases them. Like, he's like, "Hey guys, we need to go to bed, because you want to get lots of rest for tomorrow, right?" And I'm like, dude, their dead mom is in the kitchen downstairs. That was the only part of this comic where I was like, that's kind of morbid. Like, yeah, it was kind of gnarly.
He was very nonchalant, and the whole go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep Jedi mind trick he does in order to put them to sleep. And he's like, we'll deal with it later. Like, thank God he does what he does at the end of the comic. Because when I read that the first time, I was like, wow, that is cold. We're going to knock them out and we're not going to worry about it. They'll wake up tomorrow. It'll be fine. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah. We got a job to do. I'll talk to you later. Kids.
One of the kids says, "Are you mom's new boyfriend?" And he's like, "I'd rather say I'm a family friend." Yeah. It's like, he's like, no. You've grossly misread the situation. Also, I love that the kid has such confidence in his mom. It's like, yeah, mom could probably go out with a superhero. Her game is that strong.
Yeah.
But then he just says, "Now come, strapping young lads, like you need a full night's sleep to be ready for adventures of the next day, aka being adopted by an Asgardian warrior named Volstagg. That's
Yes.
your adventure tomorrow,
The
guys.
god of good parenting.
God of good parenting, yes. Thor puts them to sleep. They and then just leaves them. Just leaves them. Like their mom is dead in the kitchen, and he's like basically guaranteed.
He doesn't just leave them. They have a spell on them that they will sleep until morning. He's got
Oh,
lots of time to
fantastic!
come back. Yeah.
And then find their dead mom in the kitchen.
No, no,
Uh,
he's gonna come
so
back before that, Bry guy. Come on now.
so then we hop off to Jane's house where Jane and Keith are having a just a
Freaking Keith.
jolly old time. Keith's her husband. Um,
And she's pregnant.
yeah, she is. Good for her. We know Keith's
Mhm.
better at one thing than Thor. So that was inappropriate, and I shouldn't have said it.
No, that was good.
But Jane is going to the door. Also, hey Keith, get off your ass and go to the door. Don't make your pregnant wife go answer the door so that she gets stabby stabbed.
Yeah, so listeners, in case you're wondering, this is a Keith haters chat here. We are Team Thor Jane for obvious Jason Aaron related reasons.
Keith
So
is a straight up bitch.
Keith, like honestly, like I don't remember enough of the comics about Keith. If I recall correctly, he's fine to her. Like I don't think we have a good reason.
Like, yeah, from what I remember,
I think he's a perfectly good guy. Yeah, I think the idea is like she found real love because Thor couldn't give enough time to her. But like, fuck that guy. Come on now.
Keith's biggest problem is that he wasn't Thor.
Right, which is again, that's the problem we all have.
Well, it's like we've had this happen with Thor and Sif before. It's like Sif's biggest problem was that she wasn't Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing wrong with Sif. There's probably nothing wrong with Keith, but it's like I feel like Sif always gets the short end of the deal, kind of like Keith here, where it's just like, oh, you're not my soulmate. Well, you must be dumped in a very aggressive way.
You're just maybe the best choice that anybody could possibly make, right. But you aren't my chosen soulmate. Therefore, get out of here, and we're gonna have some sad arcs later. Yeah,
you're the easy betting favorite, but no, thank you.
Yeah.
Thor and Justice Peace show up at Jane's house, and because Keith didn't answer the door, Jane is stabbed on her stoop, and she's, I guess,
now in fairness to Keith, what is he going to do to stop the Zaniac from stabbing her?
I don't know. Something, anything. Try.
You just want him to also be dead instead of holding her in his arms?
I mean, two birds, one stone.
Yeah. One knife, please.
Two knives. One knife, two victims. We see Thor's reaction immediately be very passionate and very typically Thor. He's like, no, no, no. And the thunder is, thunder and lightning behind him. And then he stops and just whispers, no. I loved that panel so much. I loved it so much, Faz. Thor is angry, distraught. It's an example of, you might not be able to kill Thor, but you can kill a lot of the people Thor loves. And that gets to him. Like, he's a god, but he's not inhuman. He's not devoid of any kind of emotion. What did you think of Thor's reaction to Jane's apparent death?
It's just like doing the big and doing the small moments so well. Like you've got the crazy rainstorms, you've got the yelling, the like flying around, the extreme kind of warrior's anger that you get, but then you also get the everything's all broken, the ground's all teared up. And I didn't catch this the first time, but I believe he's the one who tore the ground up. It's not from the fight with the Zaniac. Thor just being upset and throwing the hammer around is what kind of destroyed the area. And he just quietly cries and says no. And that's just being able to do the big and being able to do the small and really show the humanity of this character is something that every time we see it is special. And this is a perfect example.
Yeah. We immediately jump back to Justice Peace's problem where he only has a certain amount of time left on the hop cycle to solve this problem. But Thor thinks, maybe I can MacGuffin Mjolnir to give us a few hours. Now, this is an old Mjolnir trick. Baz, you wanna give it a go?
Yeah, so it's not just a MacGuffin. It's a MacGuffin from a power that was specifically removed from Mjolnir in the past, where he goes, "Oh, unfortunately, some previous comic writer got rid of my ability to travel through time, but some of the old runes remain. Perhaps I can recharge it by swinging it really hard and saying some cool stuff." And you know what, listeners? That's exactly what happens because Mjolnir in this
Yes.
era is so much cooler than the Mjolnir that we get in the MCU. It should be able to do all these things, and I hope someday it will because we've got Mjolnir back with the Odinson himself in the main movie timeline. But being able to recharge the time scooter, or what did you call it, Ryan?
The time scooter? That's so much better than hop cycle.
What's okay? Hop cycle's cool too. Let's not do some Simonson
The
slander here.
time scooter.
It's the jumps on the time scooter, gets on the hop cycle, and they come back approximately 3 hours before.
Yes. So their goal is to get to Jane. Sorry, not get to Jane. Get to Thug before he's able to go kill Jane. So they go back to Rosie's house, and they time travel back to where Thug and Kellen are running out of the house. They get rid of all the creatures before Thug can be infected. But Thug has like a heart attack and out of fear of these monsters, and then Thor just does the most like not disrespectful, but he does these like, well, he's dead. So what are we gonna do? Well, he says there is nothing to be done. You did not see Thatcher lying in the street when you arrived, and we should be careful. Now, when he is found in the morning, he will just be one of the derelicts who failed to survive the night. Rest in peace, Thug. So let me just get this straight, Thor. He's just like a homeless
Okay.
guy.
To be fair, the next line is "Don't waste any tears on him, Thor. He chose his death." So that implies that Thor is very sad for the loss of life, regardless.
I get it. It's another example of Thor being so like passe about like people being murdered or dying. Where,
Yeah.
like, he's like, boys, don't worry. Your mother did get stabbed in her own kitchen. But hey, want to go live with this jolly fat giant?
Yeah, but like we're gonna get some really fun character work in the next few issues as Volstagg tries to teach these humans how to survive with Asgardians. It's gonna be very fun
That is
with
true.
his 70
That's true.
children.
We got some good stuff. We got some good stuff coming.
Whereas
So,
this one, it's and he has a nice statement. He says too that it's not sorrow for the death of the guy. It's sorrow for the
yes.
waste of his life, right? Like Thor truly believes that each human can be redeemed and live a happy life where they actually contribute and make a difference. And knowing that Thug is dead in this way from a heart attack means that he never gets the chance to do that.
Right, you're right. You're right. I'm just I'm trying to take a much more harsher stance on crime, which is funny because you're the well, you're closer to the world of law than I am.
I'm on the
Uh,
I'm on the plaintiff side. I am team free will. Let's go.
I am also team free will, but also a different will. Will, come back to us.
Yeah, Will Rose, this is ridiculous. You know how many times I've
Yeah,
spoken about Thor without you? I miss
we
you. I love you.
we Will, where have you been? We have been worried sick.
Yes, we have
You don't call. You don't write.
we have not been worried sick because you do write very frequently. We always know where
Very
you are, and,
frequently.
and we're glad that you're having fun. That is awesome. But we do
My
miss
gosh.
you.
Everybody, if you want to know what Will's been up to over the last few weeks, just texting us constantly about Olympic surfing. That's what he's
Yeah.
been doing.
I watched, this is an aside for our Simonson Saga. I watched the finals of Olympic surfing and the semifinals of Olympic surfing for our guy, Mr. Rose, and I had a mixed time. Sometimes it was extremely fun, but unfortunately, the weather on the final day was terrible. So there were 30 whole minutes at a time where there wasn't a single surfable wave.
Hmm.
So it's unfortunate that it's like that. And I know that Will was devastated because he got my attention. He knew I was watching. I was going to get into it. And they just had bad weather. And I got to see kind of a couple really, really cool gold medal worthy surfs, but also a lot of sitting around and talking about how chill surfing is.
I would imagine that's what a lot of surfing just is in real life.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
we'd like Will to prove us wrong or confirm us. Who knows? Will, we miss you. We love you. Free will, free will. So we see Justice Peace go back to his time. He's done his mission, and he kind of, like, sayonara, man, peace out. And then Thor goes back to creep on Jane from the bushes, and just to make sure that she's okay.
Look, are you
And
sure you're
wouldn't
team him and not team Keith? Because Keith is there having
hold
dinner
on,
with her.
and no, not having dinner with her. Uh, Jane, how many months along is she? She's probably about ready to have the Keith's demon spawn baby. And what is Keith doing? Keith is sitting on his ass, just watching.
Oh, yeah, that is not great. Come on,
Hey,
Keith, you're better
honey,
than
are you
this.
having a good time? Still taking care of me, hand and foot? Huh? Yeah, I'm just really tired. I'm carrying around all this baby weight, and hey, could you help out, Keith? I don't think I'll be doing that today. Yeah, Keith, not my favorite. Not my favorite, Faz. I'll be perfectly honest. Get off your ass, you worthless piece of garbage.
And honestly, if you're not able to boil water, go get your wife some breakfast from a breakfast spot and bring it home. Like
Yeah,
she's ready to pop. Like she needs to be sitting down. She can't be cooking the eggs and bacon today.
but you can't boil water, but I'll bet you Thor could boil up an ass whooping for you.
Yeah, but Ryan is the alternative. Like, which guy is better here? The one who's sitting down waiting for his breakfast, or the one who's hiding in the bushes watching them? Like, Jane maybe should just figure it out on
I
her
didn't even
own.
put that together. Gee, gosh, I hope Jaden's okay.
Like he easily could just go to the door and be like, "Hello, I'm glad that you are
Hi,
around." Instead
remember
of
we dated once?
yeah, or not even that. Like he visits her from time to time, and they have a special relationship still, right? So like it's not it doesn't need to be I'm your romantic partner, so I'm speaking to you. But I do like the idea that he's not doing it for the like accolades. Like, that crazy dream you had, it was real. You died. You're welcome.
It was
Instead,
real.
it's
You
just
died. And thanks to, I don't know, not Keith, you're alive.
but instead it's actually this is timely too, because in Immortal Thor 13 he talks about how love just isn't for him. He's failed too many times. He's over it now. This is an example of him failing too many times. He could make the moves. He's missed his chance with Jane, but Keith is not exactly setting the world on fire as husband of the year, and we
Oh my
can.
gosh. Keith is as milk toast as it gets. And also, one thing I like about Keith's design here, and I can't believe I'm saying this. He is like he's supposed to be Donald Blake, right?
Yeah.
Like he is a spitting image of 60s Donald Blake. So it's like
Yeah.
Jane has a type. Jane definitely has a type. Also, we know that I believe it's confirmed in earlier on in the issue that Keith is a doctor.
Yeah, and that's something that continues throughout, I think, Jurgens's run. She has a doctor husband the whole time.
So, and maybe it's Keith. Who knows?
It could be.
Maybe it's Keith.
Could be.
So yeah, we're aggressively anti-Keith, but also we're aggressively anti-Thor hiding in the bushes and creeping
Look,
out. Basically, we're team Jane here.
if
hope that
we are
Jane's
Team
pregnancy
Jane,
ends.
shocking. The people who love Jason Aaron's run are Team Jane. Who could have predicted this?
It's me.
Listeners, Ryan's pointing at himself with a big gleeful smile.
Yep.
Okay, Ryan, tell us what happens next.
Well, we go back to Asgard, and Thor dumps these orphans at Volstag's feet, and Volstag's like, "I'll eat them. I mean, I'll raise them."
But
And
he's an
so
amazing dad. He would never eat them. Come on now.
Volstagg does say, "Then these children shall want for nothing ever again. Give them to me. Give them to me. They shall sit at my table and eat my bread and be as the sons of Volstagg and Gudrun."
Yeah.
I love my guy Volstagg in this moment. I love him.
I'm telling you,
I'm so glad that Walt writes him beautifully.
he's the god of dads. Like, I don't know what he's supposed to actually be the god of, but like he's just written as such a beautiful caretaker of children throughout this entire run.
Yeah, and then we go back to Hela real quick, and Hela gathers all these shambling corpses together, and she's like, "I shall draw the magic from your very bones, and it shall be my present to Thor. He will regret that he ever set foot in hell. Next, the gift of death." And then that is where we leave our Simonson Saga today. Faz, final thoughts, and we'll wrap up here on this return to the Simonson Saga.
So, squad, listeners, friends,
Squad up,
Asgardians,
everybody. Thor Corps, gather.
I'm so excited to be back in here, and I don't think you understand how excited I am for the next 9 or 10 issue run. We're in the end game now. This is the like at this point
before.
Walt's got one hell of a story planned. It's got things that are going to make Ryan very happy. It's got things that made me incredibly happy. It's got new costumes that inspired a recent MCU movie and an armor that I've now put a lot of love into. And it's got some classic Thor villains that are coming back with really compassionate backstories. It's we're in a part, and I know we said this, but literally every part of Simonson, there isn't a weak point in this 50-ish issue run. We're in a crazy cool part, and this little side story was so much lore, so much of just Thor doing day-to-day stuff, which is equally important to him as much as it is he can fight Thanos all the live long day. But if some kid dies while trying to get their cat out of a tree, then Thor's failed, right? And we get both of it here. We get some big stakes still with the fate of the future. We get the introduction to a character that ends up being incredibly important 30 years later, just like Walt does every 3 or 4 issues, creates something that's going to be extremely important. And just all in all, we're still, we're in the prime Thor run. We're in that classic Thor as he should be. We'll never get one like this again, and I'm loving every second of it. Mr. Ryan, what do you think?
I believe, as we would call this the sweet spot.
Yeah, we would call this a sweet spot.
We are in a portion of this run where kind of our guy Walt can't miss.
Yeah.
And we know, like you said, we're coming up on the end of this run, which is nuts to me. It's so crazy to me that we're at that point where we actually are going to start wrapping things up.
Yeah.
So, I'm very excited for the next few issues. There is an issue coming up that I have not been bashful about. I am so excited to talk about the Oops All Splash Pages issue that is hanging in my office right now. It's the one of the 2 issues of Simonson that I have hanging up in the office. I have the second appearance of Beta Ray Bill, pretty much because I don't have the first appearance yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have the Midgard Serpent All Splash Pages issue. It is one of my favorite issues of comics, and I am very excited to talk about it. So Faz, anything else, man, before we get to the plugs here and hop on the Rainbow Bridge?
Listeners, if you liked the Surtur Saga, what we have coming next is going to knock your socks off. It's going to break your bones to the point where you have to beg the god of death to let you have your bones back and to grant you the ability to die. That's how much you're going to love this next little bit. And if that isn't a confusing teaser, and if it isn't confusing, then you've clearly read Simonson before. And if it is confusing, just you wait, buckaroos, because we're in it. Let's go.
You will be broken, shattered, and sockless. You will be a barefoot mess is what you will be.
And blue and gold. You will be blue and gold is what you will be.
Oh, goody. We got some great Simonson stuff coming up. We also have some great things you can check out in the episode description. We have a link to our Instagram, our Discord, and our Patreon. For a few bucks a month, you can get bonus episodes and early episodes. You would have gotten this episode a few days early, and you will have gotten our pregame where Faz and I talk about, we do a little bit of an unboxing. I'm not really great at unboxings, but I tried one. We got some cool stuff in the mail from our buddy Brandon Blocksdorf, so that was a lot of fun to talk about. And Faz kind of gave us an update on Comic-Cons that he's headed to, and who knows, maybe writers or creators he might meet along the way, Faz?
Would love to. That's right, guys. I might meet Ryan. No, I'm kidding. He's not coming to the Comic-Con. He's much too cool.
Someday, buddy, it will be a raucous, tear-filled reunion, even though
lots of snuggles, just a little bit of kissing.
And Cynthia and Kim will be like, what the hell,
No,
guys?
they'll understand.
Um,
They'll be like, yeah,
I'll
no,
be
that
like,
makes
no, no,
sense.
no. It's a Thor comics thing. And
Yeah.
then the other Thor comics guys are like, it is not a Thor comics thing.
Will is like
But
they've never kissed me like that.
I don't know. I don't know. We have seen Hercules a lot in the Thor books. Who knows? And we learned from the latest issue of Immortal Thor that Hercules is on a break with Novar. So I don't know, guys. Anyway, all that being said, check out our Instagram, check out our Discord, check out Patreon if you have a few bucks and you want some extra Thor goodness. We also throw all of the extra wrestling content from my project with Josh and Jason, the Nearfall. It's been a lot of fun this summer to get that going. So check those things out. And Faz, next week we're going to be coming back with some new Thor books. We've got Giant Size Thor coming up. We've got Immortal Thor 14 coming up. You haven't been on the last few new comics episodes, so are you? Is there anything specific you're looking forward to with those that listeners can be teased a little bit with at the end of the episode?
Mortal Thor 14's next week. Oh man.
Maybe Giant Size Thor is next
No,
week,
you're right. It's August 14th. When's Giant Size Thor coming out?
the week after.
Okay.
Got a
We've
lot of
got
new Thor coming up.
we've got some great Thor going on, guys. We're gonna have a lot of fun. The one that I'm the most excited for is Mortal Thor 15 because that Alex Ross cover is truly insane over
Yep,
Asgard.
that will
But
fetch
this
a nice
one,
price.
14, I'm excited for our Hercules stands in the audience
It's
and
gonna
for
be
our
good.
Zeus stands. I just like we've got so much cool stuff. Don't forget about Simonson either, guys, because we've got some really cool Simonson stuff coming up. We've got some great new Thor things coming up, and D23 is this weekend. So who knows if we're gonna get some new Thor news? I doubt it. Sounds like it's mainly about the TV shows, but hey,
If we
we can
get new
dream.
Thor news, we will drop a bonus episode. That's kind of if anything directly Thor related happens, we will let you
Yeah,
know. We'd love to give you our thoughts on that. But
it'll be 7 minutes of us screaming happily. That's it.
yeah, I mean, you guys remember? Hopefully, you remember our bonus episode we did after the teaser trailer for Love and Thunder came out. I don't think Faz and I were that happy. Maybe the rest of that month. It was absolutely fantastic. Anyway, guys, that is it for Across the Bifrost Day. We hope you enjoyed this edition of the Simonson Saga, talking about cowboys, gangsters, and time traveling cops. It was a raucous, insane amount of fun. So we hope that no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing in the Nine Realms, that you remember to do one thing, and that is to stay worthy. Bum
Bum,
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 ba-dum
ba-dum,
bum,
bum.
bum 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 bum. Ba-da-dum, bum 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 bum
Look,
bum.
I finally learned the first six notes, and then you just decided to blow me out of the water like
Well,
that,
here's the
eh?
thing. I listen to the feedback all the time, and I was like, but I do the same thing every single time. So I need to add it. I need to.
You did out of it. Well, I just caught up. Like I just got it so I could separate it from Dark World in my head, and you've done this to me.
Well, good times.